Hi everyone, Darkthony Progtano here, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's time for a review of the new Big K.R.I.T compilation TDT. Big K.R.I.T is a Mississippi rapper who I have covered on this channel multiple times. Some of my most positive reviews have actually been Big K.R.I.T reviews. In fact, I think his last full-length album was actually his best so far, made it on my best albums of the year list when I put that together. But last year, Big K.R.I.T did not stay silent, releasing a handful of EPs with a few tracks on each, and now he has seen fit to release the songs on those EPs on a compilation that brings it all together. Last year, a lot of people were kind of hitting me up saying, hey, why haven't you reviewed these EPs? I noticed the EPs didn't make it on your best EPs of the year list, like what's up? And I will admit, in 2018, I did not do as good a job of covering the EP side of things as I possibly could have, so I figured I could kind of make up for that by talking about this newly released compilation of all of these Big K.R.I.T EPs right here, right now. Let's go. So Big K.R.I.T, if you don't know, he's not only a rapper, but also a lyricist and a singer and a producer, really kind of a triple threat. He's greatly influenced by pop rap and conscious hip-hop, a lot of southern hip-hop, Outkast, Kanye West as well. Now, across K.R.I.T's discography, there are hits and misses, there are highs and lows. My least favorite projects of his actually are the ones that he put out on a major label, because it seems like those records, for whatever reason, were a lot more limited. However, these days, he's back on his independent shit. Through that, I think his music has gotten a little better, which initially did make me excited to try these EPs, because he strikes me as an artist that wouldn't release anything unless he really needed to release it, and it seems like lately he has a lot more creative freedom, indicated by his last full-length LP. However, I feel like that freedom isn't really being taken advantage of on these new EPs. In fact, I think pretty much all of the material that these EPs presents for K.R.I.T is kind of underwhelming, even in comparison to some of his most lackluster records. Mostly because I think the beats generally are pretty generic. Not really a whole lot in the way of interesting rhythms on this thing. A lot of the percussion on this thing just hits a very one-dimensional trap vibe. Lyrically, I didn't think there was a whole lot to these songs that stood out, but let me go over some of them. The opening cut, Energy, is a quick and euphoric piece of pop rap with a distinct southern flavor. It's got some sweet soaring background vocals and strings. K.R.I.T keeps up a pretty athletic flow at a consistent pace, with a lot of nods to the tough upward climb that he's had, to keeping up his energy. Thematically, it's pretty general. Doesn't really get into a whole lot of details as far as what he's rapping about. The song Learn from Texas is one of K.R.I.T's many musical tributes, essentially kind of giving a nod to the music and the sounds out of the state of Texas that inspired his music over the years, whether it be UGK or Chopped and Screwed. I love the instrumentals, cascading synth leads that have a bit of a chimey quality to them. They almost sound 8-bit. It certainly adds a lot to the blissful, nostalgic tone of the song. The song Glorious's theme melody sounds almost like Goody Mob's Who's That Creeping at My Window, but like a lesser version of it. The cut presents very little in terms of an exciting rap performance or verses. Meanwhile, the track 100 grabbed my attention, but for all the wrong reasons, because easily it has the worst chorus on the entire record. K.R.I.T's oh-oh-oh-ohs all over the track sound completely ridiculous, though I do give him props for being able to very subtly shift into this glamorous R&B lane, but still be able to perform pretty well in that sound without coming off awkward or out of place. Meanwhile, Higher, King Part 6 is a really passionate monologue delivered over these kind of fuzzy auto-tune vocal leads that sound like something straight out of a Kanye cut. It's kind of sad and anthemic. It sounds like something off of 808s and Heartbreak, or maybe even some of the more low-key cuts of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Very spacey, very dramatic, of course matched with a trap beat, and K.R.I.T has a particularly husky vocal on this cut in a flow that reminds me almost of like Rick Ross. As far as the lyrical content on this song goes, a lot of reflections on his present, his past, materialism, God. For me, the song 4 of the 3 has the most exciting groove of any cut on this record, with these bleeping synth leads and a growling bass line. It's cute but has an animalistic quality to it, but still another moment on the album that's not really going above and beyond on the rhythm side of things. Because again, the beats on this record, for the most part, they're just really one-dimensional trap beats. And considering how much experimentation's going on in the genre right now, how versatile and simplistic the form is, and how creative K.R.I.T has proven himself to be in the past, I would think that rhythm-wise, there'd be a bit more variety on this record, but there really isn't. Meanwhile, the compositional bits in the instrumentals, sometimes they come off kind of pretty, most times they feel super basic and uninspired, even the beats that are produced by K.R.I.T himself. Lyrically, this compilation is not nearly as topically focused as any record K.R.I.T has put out in the past. He seems to be dipping back into a lot of the same thematic wells that he has in the past, but coming up dry as far as anything new or refreshing or profound to say. And not to assert that K.R.I.T has nothing to say at all anymore, I just think that he didn't really spend as much time on these tracks as he has on a lot of his recent material. It's like he's groomed and refined these songs just to the point where they sound acceptable enough to release. I don't know if that's because the ideas on these tracks are left over from his last album, or if he just wanted to rush a bunch of songs together to kind of give fans something to listen to hold them over before the next big project. In a lot of ways, the material on TDT, it sounds just as breezy and casual and almost effortless as like what Migos were doing on Culture 2. In fact, I could imagine Quavo and Offset and Takeoff doing any number of boring Migos-isms over these instrumentals. Overall, TDT, the EPs on it, the material it presents, it's just not as colorful or as creative or as versatile as we've known K.R.I.T to be in the past. Just seems like a really slapped together collection of songs. And believe me, these cuts are by no means unlistenable. I'd actually say they're listenable to the point where they don't challenge the listener to do anything other than just have it on in the background. Because outside of a few pretty instrumental bits and some personal and specific verses, there's not much here that could legitimately inspire any sort of excitement or thought. I think TDT, at the end of the day, it's passable. It's okay. Hardcore fans will most likely love it, but in the grander scheme of things, it is completely average and unremarkable for K.R.I.T. And I know he's capable of so much more. I'm feeling a strong 5 to a light 6 on this thing. Transition, have you given this compilation a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like. Please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video that you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Big K.R.I.T, TDT, forever.